Hello, and welcome to 5 Minutes with Nate. This month's topic is social studies. Now, before I start today, this month has spring breaks for many different schools. So, next week I'm going to be following spring break. So, the next week we're not going to have an episode. So, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Now, I want to discuss social studies really is the best possible cross content collaborative subject. So, what do I mean by that? For example, for reading, wow, social studies can involve so much different kinds of reading. Now, we may think reading a textbook, but no, there's original documents, there's newspapers, there's news stories, there's fiction, historical fiction from that time. So many different things you can make. Now, I don't mean just during social studies time. Maybe if you're studying like the Civil War during social studies, in reading time, read Across Five Aprils. Help the students build that knowledge in two different subject areas. In writing, there's so many different kinds of writing you can do. Not just formal paragraph writing, but journals, newspaper styles, write the headline for historical events, things like that. Math, you might think, well, how is math and social studies? Really, graphs, charts, maps with scale, talking about numbers and years. And you can help students with little ways to build their number sense. For example, if you have high school students and you're talking about populations and how they've changed and grown over time, so that year has that many people and then you see it grow, what kind of graph, what kind of growth is that? It's an exponential curve. That's such a little thing that you can throw in. You can ask the math teacher while you're studying that day to do a story problem related to that. Science, there's a lot of things we discuss in history that happen during a time period that are related with inventions. For example, the Industrial Revolution, oh my goodness, that is about technology and science and learning growth. Connect those things together. See what they're learning in science and make comparisons as to what you're talking about in history. Who are the famous scientists? What happened? You can see that show up in history class so easily. Art. Oh my goodness, history is full of art. Look at that time. What kind of art do they have? Maybe allow students to practice that style of art. For ASL, oh yeah. Not only can you, practice debate or discussion in ASL, that class interaction, but you can watch news shows in ASL. You can watch historical videos in ASL. You can talk about deaf history itself. Civil War, there is so much that happened in the deaf world. The Cold War, take a minute and talk about DPN for a day. You can add deaf history, deaf and ASL history throughout time as part of your discussions. If you're learning about the War of Independence, the Revolutionary War, take a moment and pause and ask, what were deaf people doing? Were there deaf schools? Where did deaf people work at that time? It's a 5 or 10 minute discussion. You don't have to know all the answers. You can Google them with the class, but help students see their diversity reflected in that. So don't just think of social studies as, well, this is history time. Think of it more broadly and really pull everybody in. You can make social studies so rich, as well as other topics, other contents can link in to what you're learning about in social studies and apply to those classes as well. That's your 5 Minutes with Nate tip for today. Have a great day.